Welcome to Startup Climb, where we bring you interviews with startup founders. Through this podcast, we hope to go behind the curtains to find out where it all begins. This is an inside look on their journey, their struggles, and how they overcome adversity. On today's episode, we have Jerry Chua, co-founder of Moovaz. Moovaz is a Singapore startup that specializes in international relocation. Welcome, Jerry. Hi, Jerry.
Hey, hi.
Hello. So, let's just start with a little introduction about your company and your team. So, what you guys do?
Okay, so basically, my company name is Moovaz Innovation. We brand it as Moovaz. We want to make international relocation a seamless and efficient process for everyone, all over the world. With this mission to allow people to relocate, right, and to allow them to move well as well as live well. So the whole idea is basically to bring the world closer, to enable a seamless and truly moving experience, for anyone who wants to move. If you can think about moving, right, it's a very painful process, which probably I can share with you more later. Yeah. So a little bit about our team. It was founded by three of us. Three of us are actually classmates, 15 years ago in NUS Business School. Three of us study business, and especially myself and Vishnu. We were pretty good friends. We took same modules, but after when we graduated, right, we all went into different fields. Okay, for me myself, I actually go into a few startups. I started a company called Rezo. It's actually a business that cater for people in terms of clothing. We do tailor, customized clothing. Yeah, using a tech platform to enable our client to have that visualization, right, of how it looks, with different kind of fabrics as well as different color and tone to see they match, their body type as well as the skin color. That's my first startup experience. For the very beginning, we get grant. We get grant from some of the. One of them is this Intuitive, NTU Intuitive, actually from NTU. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's quite strange. I'm from NUS, but I managed to get a sponsor from NTU, a small little grant of 50K, but it was really helpful. It allowed me to actually create a simple product. At the same time, I met my idea about how I can actually go out to build this business. In this business, I did it for quite a few, around quite a long, about maybe around 1.5 years, and after which I actually sold the company to so-called a friend of mine, who actually continue the business until today. Yeah, so that was my very first experience into this startup world. Yeah, so that's about me. And then subsequently, I went into the other venture, as well as I actually went to work as a salesperson as well, in the financial industry. And then the other two founders, Vishnu, he actually also has a lot of experience, especially from him. He's actually in the international relocation industry. He was actually one of the biggest contractor, which provide labor, material, and supplies to the big boys in Singapore. Yeah, so actually the idea actually came about when I start talking to him. Hey, Vishnu, what are you doing? What were you doing back then? What is it about? So we started to understand, hey, actually the field that he was in is something that is pretty fragmented, pretty traditional. And then at that time, we thought about it. We brainstormed, we did our user check, look at the American market, look at the international market, and then realize, hey, this is something pretty interesting. If we can actually create something, and at that time, you heard about the Airbnb of the world, you heard about all these kind of company, right? They are being built, right? Yeah, and it's interesting time, an exciting time. So, but at the same time, we realized that myself and Vishnu, we were pretty not like the techie kind of entrepreneur. We probably can build a company, to a certain scale, but we may not be someone who knows tech, So we wanted to find someone who can complement, into this project. So we we look for that person, and that is Jun Xian. Jun Xian, he after he graduated, he actually went to get his master. He went to the US, China. Get his masters and stuff, and then join a startup company. Shopee. He was actually one of the founding team. Actually, and then he also founded Cashew. Yeah, so actually this Moovaz, this company actually started by having these three of us having a conversation, after weeks and weeks of discussion, right? And then we said, why not let's do something together. If it's possible, why not three of us can start this Moovaz lah. So, and then cut the story short, three of us decided, okay, come on man, let's do it. But of course, one thing we all have to agree is we need to give up whatever we are doing and fully focus on this project. Yeah, and that was like late 2017, and that's how my team is formed, and that's the story about my company.
Right, but like, what is the problem that you identify in the international relocation industry?
Okay, so like I mentioned about problem, right? There is really if you Google what are the top 10, top 5 most stressful event, right? I think you will definitely find one that is moving lah. You need to uproot yourself. Even in Singapore, let's say you're going to move house, right? From maybe Tampines to Kallang, right? It's something that is something that is very stressful. You are going to change a new location. You need to start thinking about a renovation. You think about your children, if you have, right, their school. You need to call your credit cards company, to reset your postal mailing address, and so there's tons of things that you need to do, even for a local moving. So we researched, I can only tell you that international moving is way worse. Yeah, so it's a very stressful kind of event, but there is no platform, right, that actually cater for the international people, for the assignee, or we call it the movers, who moves move across the world. Yeah, so we think that, hey, actually we can create a platform, right, where we can aggregate and curate, services like insurance that I mentioned. When you go to a new place, imagine yourself living for 1.5 years, and at the same time, maybe you need to bring your wife along. There's so many things, right? You need to reset. Your whole life is actually like anew. You need to start everything afresh. Yeah, so we realized that there's this very big pain that is not easily available in the market. It's something that we actually research on. There were companies that are doing PM, a little bit bit and pieces of the services that I mentioned, but there is no one that is able to do the curated services, right, in a platform, to the customer itself. So I think this is something that, hey, if we can harness the power of technology, right, I think with this unique business model, it can actually be very helpful, to this group of clientele that we want to serve.
Right. But like, just curious, because I think when you're talking about international relocation, right, like for example, moving to other countries, like I think just now you mentioned like Bangkok, or like even like the neighboring countries like Indonesia and Malaysia, right? You probably need somebody who knows the area or knows the country well, right? So like, is that like a problem that you face when you're trying to expand to more countries, that you need to find trustable people to try to get a sense of like which is the best insurance company in like Thailand, that kind of thing?
Yes. So like what you say, right? When you go to Bangkok, and you want to go to Indonesia, when you go to that country, right, you don't know which bank to bank with. You do not know which insurance company you should buy your insurance policy with. So what Moovaz wants to do, we want to have this network, of service providers. They are curated, into our platform. And for yourself, right, imagine you're going to Bangkok, KL, or even like Jakarta, right? You know that, hey, even before you go there, your SIM card is settled. I can give you free SIM card. I can give you the banks that you should bank with. And for us, right, it's also bringing customer to these vendors. Yeah. So this business model become very interesting. Where we can actually monetize, from even our service provider in our platform itself.
Right. So let's go a little bit back to when you first started with your co-founders. So like normally when startups are founded, they tend to be limited on resources. So how do you choose on where to spend your money on?
Okay, so if let's say talking about Moovaz, right? In fact, because we are already we have certain experience, in terms of like my
Right.
exchange. We have certain experience in terms of running startup, and also having some savings in the bank. So what we started
Right.
on, right, is actually we each of us put a 5-digit investment into the company. Yeah, and we want to focus on the right thing. So very quick, immediately, right, we try to create the product that we think that we can go out. Not a perfect product, but an MPV for us to go out to test. If this hypothesis that we have, right, is valid lah. Does it hold water? I think that is something that we started to, once we have that validation, right. Actually, we in the very beginning we already created this roadmap as well as our vision, and we actually in the very beginning we really started going out to seek for our seed funding, with the people that we know, the people that we think they may want to invest, So very quickly in our first few months, right, we get a decent seed investment, and that allow us to so-called fast scale, in terms of our business Moovaz itself. Yeah. So to answer your question, I really think it really depends on which stage you are in. Definitely also depending on what kind of business you want to build. If you want to build something that is fast and scalable, and you want to go through the tech scene, right? You want to get user. I think fundraising is one of the method. But of course, some entrepreneur may want to build something that is of lifestyle. Looking at returns, net profit. That is also doable and feasible.
Right. So I'd just like to go a little bit to like the hiring process. So like when you first make your first like hire to like find your first employee, what were the qualities that you look for in them?
Okay, I think this is a very good question. Actually we tend to know to find that somebody, right? I think for yourself, you mentioned that you work with startup before. I think startup itself is very scrappy. It's like you need to be able to multitask. So that particular person is really understanding his whether he has a very good attitude. He knows that he has to be on task, and because of especially in the environment of startup, right? Today maybe we have a plan, but the plan can actually change, overnight, or probably, and then the next week, right, the plan change again, because we are not like a corporation, and I think that is very important. The attitude and the ability to be flexible. That's the two main so-called attribute that we look at.
Right. So I just wanted to go a little bit deeper into that. How do you then tell that they have this attitude or this mindset? Like especially like when you don't really have a lot of time to like pick the person. So like how do you tell that like a person have like this ability to be flexible?
Okay. Good question again. Okay, so if you ask me, right, especially in the very beginning of a startup, I think there's two ways you can hire. One way is going through the usual platform. You post your posting and you wait for someone to so-called comes and for the regular interview. So what I did is that, hey, we are going to do this startup. I think at the first stage, you look at, maybe some of your friends, who you think that they are of certain good caliber, over certain track record. At the same time, you also ask for recommendation. You wanted somebody for that particular role. And then at the same time, with the recommendation, right, you need to do a bit of checks, to know that who is the ex-boss. You need to do the due diligence. I think that will help. Yeah, but of course, like any hire, I think there is no certain thing that is guaranteed that he will turn out to be good or a fit to your company. But I think there are a few ways, you can actually manage it better so that you can actually fit better to your team. Yeah.
Right. So, how big is your team currently at the moment?
Okay, currently we have about 30 odd. We have about 30 in Singapore as well as in the the Philippines. We have a small team in Philippines as well.
Right. So how do you then manage across borders? I think especially during this COVID period, right? It's even more difficult because like you cannot fly there to like sort of help with like anything that they need. So how do you then manage both locations?
Okay, I think actually, to be honest, right, I feel that COVID-19, right, you can look at all situation in two ways lah. I look at COVID-19. Obviously, it has impacted some our businesses definitely, but of course, I look at the positive side, right. It's actually with COVID-19, you think about it. Actually, we suddenly we are able to do remotely. We can actually. In fact, back then when we were in office in Singapore, right, we actually do not communicate as much, with our teams in Philippines. But right now, right, our team manager, our team lead, together with some of the guys in Philippines, right, we have regular check-in, daily stand-up. So I think this actually build, more communication. We have more communication between the team, and then actually build the whole cohesion, I would say, in the team as well.
Right. But why do you choose Philippines as the first place to expand to?
Okay. Not really a place that I expand to. I would rather say that there is a place that actually support our business. When you talk about international, actually this one really depend on business, because our business is international relocation, and a lot of our clientele, right, they are mainly make out of expat, and usually they speak in English most of the time, but of course they do have their first language and stuff. So we think about where can we get value, in terms of customer service, in terms of sales representative. So we check with our friends, our other founders, right, into which other countries do they actually get all this kind of talent to help their business. We actually narrowed down to a few other countries, and then we decided on Philippines, based on value as well as cost, as well as the time zone. I think these are all important. Yeah, because I have another startup company that a friend of mine is actually have some of their team in Eastern Europe as well. Yeah, so it's really depending on how you want to manage your different team.
Right. So I guess let's go a little bit about investment funding. I think because you talked about it a little bit about it just now. So like, how big of an impact do you feel that an investor have on a business and its operations?
I think it's very important, to have the right investor. In fact, we especially together, my partner, right, Chin Xian, and myself as well as Vishnu, we know that if a good investor, right, can actually bring us really far. But an investor that you bring in that is I would say may not be the best one, right, will actually hinder your growth lah. So I think there's a few things I maybe can narrow it down. I think one of them is operating experience. If you, I think this is it is publicly available in the news. We just recently announced that we raised our Series A. If I can say that our lead investor, Quest Venture, right, is somebody that we really want them to be our investor, because the VC there, they all have operating experience. They themselves are operator, and they themselves have experience bringing their company to be listed, and they have operate big companies, in this region. So I think that is one of the main things, talking about operating experience. If I can also say the second one, I think that is also equally important, would be good reputation. Especially the startup scene is not like very big. You will know other founders as well. You ask, hey, is this VC? What are they good at? I think all these are important. You need to do your check. They will say, hey, this guy is that. He definitely can help you. Blah blah blah. So I think that these are things that we also need to do. We are very happy. We have done our check. The people that are in our cap table, that means our investor, right, all are able to help us, and they are of good reputation. At the same time, you also want to look for somebody who can give you the expertise, especially in terms of international relocation, right? We understand that we need someone who understands the aspect. We need someone who understands logistics, because when you talk about moving, right, it's the logistical part the business. But when you talk about the client side, right, it's really about need to know why. We need to know why. Why the client move. A lot of time they move due to work. Due to work. They want. So we need to know. So if I can share, right, is like one of our partner is one of our investors is YCH. They are one of the biggest logistic player in the region, and that helps. You can actually know in terms of freight, in terms of air shipment. These are the things that they can actually advise.
Right.
Which is good, which is not so good. Yeah. I think at the same time, I think the last point maybe I can share is also their network. If let's say in our field we talk about expat, we have people, we have our investor as a Chapman Group. They actually what they do is they manage they headhunt HR. So when we talk about headhunting, we have access to this group of HR, HR of top MNC and stuff like that. So then we can understand, how the HR think, how they actually place people on a assignment to another country, and therefore from there, right, we understand how a customer think, so we know how to actually approach them and get business for our company. So I think these are a few things, a few points I feel having a good investor can actually have a very good positive impact on the business.
Right. So just want to ask a little bit more and specifically onto like the pitching aspect, because I think in order to first like get funding, you must first like raise a pitch and try to convince the investor that your company is worth funding. So like, what do you feel like you have that made your pitch very successful? Like, what was like the X factor?
I think it's really understanding the business. I think we understand the risk, in terms of external as well as the internal risk. I think in the deck you will talk about what are the market size. You just need to hit the right notes. When you talk about in terms of the external risk, you talk about market size. You talk about competition. We talk about what is the business itself. Then we talk about the internal. Talk about execution. You describe who is the team. Stuff like that. So I think it's really about how you break it, and then you communicate it to your investor. I can only say that it's just a really, you need to find the right investor. Just really meeting more investor. Sharing your pitch along the way. You fine tune. Obviously they will give you tons of advice, but we always need to stay true to what is our vision and our mission. And then along the way, right, you fine tune your pitch. And then you know that, okay, this is something I think, this is something that we can believe in. This is a pitch that we will go out and share with the investor. And I can only share with you, we really meet, on a regular basis, different investor, and then understand what they want and what is their mandate, and then you do it on a, religiously, understanding that that means meeting more. At the same time, also fine-tuning your pitch.
Right. So, I think just now we mentioned a little bit about COVID. So, like, in my opinion, I would feel that COVID would vastly affect your business because people are not relocating anymore, right? And a lot of companies realize that a lot of positions can be remote, which means that there might be lesser people relocating to different countries to work. So, how has that affected your business, and how do you like pivot if let's say like you were impacted?
Okay. Seriously, I think in the initial stage, right, when we think about this major event like COVID-19, right, we really scaled down our numbers in terms of our projection. Yeah. But strangely, we are still keeping up with our numbers on a month-to-month basis. Not because we are doing something differently, but rather, even though there are there's lesser people who are relocating, but there is also a huge number that are repatriating. Yeah, because due to the situation, people are repatriating, and the scale, right, is becoming like a lot more. So actually, even given this situation, right, actually, in fact, we had one before we raised our round. We already have this plan to actually go into a few markets that we already researched on. to Hong Kong, to Australia, but we have to put on hold because we cannot be going there anymore. We cannot fly there. We cannot do a lot of things. Okay, so I think we at the same time we take this opportunity, right, to really look into our product, as well as our offering to our client, So from here, right, I only can because by doing that, this COVID-19 give us this unique situation that we can actually reevaluate and look into our product offering and then actually make certain adjustment. Which we all now believe that with that, right, we can actually be better equipped, to meet the demands of the whole market, right, when the COVID-19 situation is over.
Right. So I would like to move a little bit into like reflection. So like, why do you even choose to enter a startup to begin with? I mean, like after graduation, you could go to a lot of different areas, right? Why do you choose to be in a startup?
Why do I choose to be in a startup? Okay, actually, I always wanted to do something that is, have an impact, to society.
Right.
Actually, I interned before. I interned in big corporates. Then I realized, a lot of time, my role is very minute. So
right.
So when I first went out, as a young graduate, right, I really do not know what I wanted to do. But all I wanted to know that is I want to really make an impact when when I was young. I have the time. I'm not so-called do not have so much so-called responsibility yet. I think that's the reason. I think going to a startup will allow me to fulfill at least my dream. To create something that is impactful.
Right, but like, are you not worried that because so far, Moovaz has been like maybe like a 3-4 years project, right? You said you started in 2017, so it should be about 3 years, right? But are you not worried that like, because like the startup ecosystem is not like the nature of startups are like that they are like not very stable and things can change very fast. So like, as you get older, have you ever thought of like transitioning back to corporate, or that has never been like the plan?
I think really depending on how you look into it, if I can share COVID-19, right, even you are in big corporates, right, your job is also at a risk. Okay. But I feel that in a startup, especially if you are the founder, right, you at least know that the path, right, is in your hand. You can chart your own future. At least like even if you fail, right, it's still something that you decide on. Yeah, so I think this is something that I will never. If I'm going to do it again, I will still go to start something myself.
So then let's go a bit into like, what was the biggest struggle that you faced when so far as a founder, and how did you overcome it, or what do you learn from it? Okay,
maybe I would say that struggle. I think there is a lot. In terms of the whole idea about startup is the ability to pivot, and I think you will experience high and low. It's like frequently. So I think I wouldn't say it's a struggle. I would say you need to adapt to it. I think therefore I need to always be very, very positive. Because like myself, right, I have my family already. So I cannot, I need to be positive, and I need to know that, hey, being in a startup, right, you have your ups and downs. So I just need to manage it and always be positive. Yeah.
But how do you like pick up after like a massive setback? Like what do you do?
What do I do? Okay, I think also because I have a good founding team, and all of us are founders before, or on our own right. I think it's something that we're really quite used to it. Therefore, a lot of time you need someone to speak to. A lot of time when something didn't go really well, if you have somebody to talk to, it will actually help you. Yeah, so I think doing startup, if you can do it with a team, you will definitely be much better. So I think that is one of the way I manage it. But at the same time, I also do. I also come to a point that I know that any startup, any successful founder, right, will make tons of mistakes. But it's about how they pick it up and then I won't and stop making the same mistake again. Yeah,
Right.
I think that is also something that I learned over time.
Right. Is there any like specific incident or event that you can recall that you actually learned a lot from, like one particular event?
One particular event that I learned a lot on, I would say maybe one of my key staff actually decided to leave us. Yeah, I think that is something that is shocking, you know. But I was a bit like a shock. Yeah, in a state of shock, and that is something that is we are all happy. We are just probably a few days ago we just talked about our next quarter plan. We just talk about how we are going to approach it and are going to so-called hit our targets and stuff like that. And then the particular staff decided to say, hey, it's about time I want to leave, stuff like that. Yeah, so that is an event that probably is quite a setback because it's quite an important team member of the company.
Right.
So you may actually question yourself, why this happened? Is it of you, working, or is it the direction of the company that is not aligned, or probably our direction is not clear. Yeah. So I think these are things that you need to know along the way. Even no matter in a startup, right, you will have people that may along the way you need to do to communicate a lot, to actually get everyone understand the mission and vision of your company. But of course, also even you do all the right things, right, there might be a chance that they may have new direction. They may have a new something that they want to do, beside beyond what they are actually committed to you in the very beginning.
Right. So I think we touched a little bit just now, but let's talk about employee retention then. How do you retain your staff?
How do we retain our staff? I think this really require a lot of work. I think the whole most important thing, if you ask me, is really we as a founder, right, must set the right goal. They must understand our vision and they must buy into our vision. And setting the right KPI, we call it, to set the right goals for all of them, and we are also be able to measure them. So that they know that, hey, whether they are performing well and they really believe in your goal, and then after that, right, you revise your goal with them again, and then this is like a repeat kind of cycle that you need to do it very, very frequently.
Right.
Yeah, and you need to listen, to them. That's the reason, right, you hire people, good talents, right? You cannot be like, hey, I go in, say, hey, I'm going to tell you, you're going to do this. This will not really work. So I think to retain is really about being a better manager and a better leader. No point like, hey, I'm going to give you increase in your pay. It may help, but I would think that it's pretty going to be temporary.
Right. So let's go to the other side of the coin then. What is your biggest accomplishment thus far as a founder? And maybe a particular event or milestone that made you look back and be like, hey, I think I'm quite amazed that we actually managed to accomplish this.
Let me think. Okay. So I think personally, I think we have a few small wins. I think that the latest one would be our recent fundraise. I think that is probably something that I feel is an achievement. It's also a boost, to the team. You feel proud about that. Our team, we have put in our effort, right? And if somebody really put in money, especially from some of the investors that we get, right? It's something that is a moment that at least, we are on the right track. At least you can know that, hey, you can tell our team and your team members can think that, hey, we are really on the right track and now we have achieved, our goal, to reach this stage. Yeah. So I think that would be one of the more proud moments.
Right. So what is your goal for Moovaz? Eventually, what do you want Moovaz to become?
Okay, like I mentioned, I think in Moovaz, we have a very, very ambitious, I would say, plan in the very beginning. We wanted to really go global. That's why we talk about international relocation. We want to really be the network, be the top of mind, right, in any international relocation. Yeah, that is something we want to achieve. That means, be it, if you are moving from, say, Frankfurt in Germany to Hong Kong, you will use our product. Our product is good enough, to help you to move your things, at the same time to help you to live well when you reach your destination. Yeah. In fact, as of now, we already able to, to move our client, right, to more than 200 over cities in the world. So I think that is a small step, a baby step, but we are going to do it even further. We can actually even cover more grounds, at the same time provide better solution, to our client. That will be something that is what we want to achieve in Moovaz itself in the next few years.
Right. So I think I have two more questions for you, and then we'll wrap up this podcast episode. So the first question is, what is the quality that you feel an aspiring entrepreneur should have?
Quality. I think to take action is very important, to be decisive, so therefore you must take action. I think I have a lot of friends. Last time, like I'm in poly, even in NUS, right? I have many friends. They always keep telling me, "Hey, I want to do this, do that, do this, do that. I want to start this, start that." But I would say maybe, especially in a country like Singapore, right? I think the risk taking part, and to take action, into something that they want to do, is not really a lot. I would say it's really even less than 20%. If I can look into my cohort of friends, I can only say that my project group, I can say every one of us definitely have idea that we wanted to be entrepreneur one day, or even to be a founder of a company. But I would say it's not a lot lah. It's just that fraction. Yeah. So you take action, and then along the way, be it you succeed or you fail, right, I would still think is a courageous move, and definitely that period of time that you put in, right, usually I would say the learning itself is going to be quite useful.
Right. So I want to go a little bit deeper into that, because I think you mentioned a lot about like risk, right? So I think at the start, it's quite difficult to tell whether your idea will work out, right? So how do you do an initial validation of your idea, especially like when you don't have a lot of connections? It's very difficult for you to like ask the investors, be like, and validate it through pitch, right? So how do you do an initial validation to think that, hey, I think my idea is workable?
Okay. I think there's a few things that we can do. I think first of all, understand your market. Let's say you are going to a market, know how big is the market. I think that is important as well. Understand who is your competitor. Understand the timing also, the timing of the things that you want to do. Whether is it the right time? Like for example, Airbnb, right? I think if you read, you understand that there are so many companies before Airbnb have the same concept. Yeah, but probably the technology back then, the people adopting that kind of concept, right, it's not ready.
Right.
So after you have done your what I call this kind of research, right? Pitch it, to your friends, to your family, to anybody you think that can add value, and then at the same time ask them, if I'm going to do this business, right, will you put money, into my business? If they say, yeah, why not? I definitely, when they say that, right, that they may, I think a few things. They may think that your plan is a decent plan, first of all. The second thing is they may think that, hey, I think I like you, I know you. I think even I think this is just an idea. Even if your idea is not totally polished, right, but I feel that you have the ability to make it right down the road. Yeah. So I think it's really very important to understand that an idea will keep changing. In fact, this is definitely true, especially in most startup. Yeah, but the ability to adapt, to the market and then executing it, is the most important thing, in terms of running and creating a successful startup, I think.
Right. I see. So my last question, right, is a question that I'll ask everyone that I've interviewed thus far. And that is, what is one advice that you will give to an aspiring entrepreneur, or like an advice that you'll give to like your past self?
My past self.
Yeah.
Let me think. One. Yeah, I think I say, I think if I can tell, it's really having the positive mindset. Yeah, like I say, I think that is really very important to me lah. Yeah, because I feel that if you have that positive mindset, right, and that means nothing can really pull you down. You know, you get setbacks almost every day, every week. You know, you get, you know, from your customer, from your team, you know, from your investor, everywhere. Yeah, but if you are able to stay positive, you know, throughout, and are able to regulate, you know, your thoughts well, right? I think that would be a very good advice lah, and something that you can make manage, you know, the stress that it really has, you know, as a founder.
Right. Just curious, right, on that point of positivity. I think you mentioned that we should stay positive. How do you go about to practice that? I think it's quite difficult to change your mindset. I mean, like overnight and stuff like that, right? So what are the steps you take to like slowly change your mindset to stay positive?
You have to understand that after a while, right, no point worrying, you know, maybe I can only tell you, definitely, you know, when you first started, you will be very afraid, you know, I think that fear is always there, you know, fear of not making it, you know, fear of you know, some of your ideas is wrong. You know, you go out with a product, you know, and then you get punched, you know, by your customer. Hey, you know, why is it like that? Why is it like that? You know, so you know, if you take that in and you really internalize and you begin to have negative thoughts, right, and probably you worry too much, you you spend too much time thinking about it, right, it will not help, you know. Yeah. So if you are positive, okay, well, thank you for your feedback. You know, I'm going to use this feedback and see how I can make my product better. You know, I'm going to use this feedback really from my team. How can I be a better manager? You know, stuff like that. I think that is something that is important now. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, Jerry, today.
Hey, thank you, Yuan. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was the interview with Jerry. One thing that stuck to me was when he mentioned that as a startup, you're constantly pivoting and you might face new problems every day. He also emphasized on the positive attitude that a founder needs to have. Would love to hear your thoughts on what you think is the most important quality in a founder. Just drop me an email or connect with me through LinkedIn. We have come to the end of the episode. I hope that this has been an insightful learning experience for you. If you want to hear more, do follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Till next time, take care.